Hey guys, this is Pranit Rastogi, who have cracked the ABCs, the Holy Trinity, better than anyone. Quite literally. Our profile तो solid ही थी, but VRC game not that great. तो हर इंजीनियर की तरह IIM अहमदाबाद तक पहुंचना wasn't a cakewalk, but well, guess what? He did it, and so can you. अब इंजीनियर्स की बात हो ही रही है तो ये तो हम सबको ही पता है इंजीनियर्स के लिए क्वांट्स तो हलवा होती है इसी के एक्सेप्शन बनके हमें मिले देवांश वार्ष्णेय वेल देवांश इज लेजेंड द वार्क गुरु so here we have today two peas in a pod so if you really want this latest attempt do not miss this episode.
मतलब मेरा तो ये था कि आई वांट टू बी दैट गाय ऑन द सेंटर जिसको लोग देख के बोले भाई इसको टेंशन क्यों नहीं हो रही.
But once a subject where scoring a 99 is much easier than BRC.
कि आप जब मॉक देते हैं ना अपने इनिशियल लास्ट मंथ में यू गिव दैट मॉक थिंकिंग कि मैं कैट दे रहा हूँ.
So आपको वो low hanging fruits उन 22 में से ढूंढने हैं बस. I would say gauge a set on the topic that it is presented on.
फेस वैल्यू पे नहीं जज करना है.
Exactly.
I used to have that copy where I write down all the good questions which I come across. कर ही रहे हैं, घुस ही गए हैं, दे ही रहे हैं तो रोक के देने से अच्छा भाई खुशी खुशी दे लो.
In general, what your strategy was and how you started with your CAT preparation. Any one of you can just go ahead.
Was that yes, I initially had a very rough idea of how CAT is. I actually had looked at a previous couple of last year papers, and then I actually started preparing. So what I started with was that I just purchased this Arun Sharma. This is a very famous book for quantitative aptitude. I just finished all reading through all the chapters, and then I fairly knew, at least for me, that I am more or less familiar with all the topics. So after then, as and when I started giving mocks last year, I realized that it is more of a skill. I would rather say it is more of a patience game. That as to you have to hang in out there, you have to have a lot of patience. You have to have a strategy for each and every scenario that can be possibly there on the exam day. It can strategy for VRC. I just got up very early in the morning since I was also working the last year, and I just started preparing. I like solved a few RC, solved a few VA questions, and then also started giving sectional tests. So a lot of sectional tests is something that I believe has helped me a lot throughout my preparation, because at least for LRDI and quants, again, this is for me, I've only solved a lot of sectional tests. That is where I formulated my strategy, and I was pretty sure that yes, after having a very solid strategy of every possible scenario, I'll be able to perform very well in the exam. Correct.
That's nice. Okay. Also, so now that we are into the three sections and we're talking about VARC, other than reading and of course summarizing and all that stuff, what are the things that everyone should take care of on a daily basis that they're definitely not missing out on?
रीड एन एन आर्टिकल. मेरा ये पॉइंट है. फिलोसफीज में देयर आर लॉट ऑफ यूट्यूब वीडियोस. जैसे इन वीआरसी यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ टॉपिक्स, इकोनॉमिकल फिलोसफी, फंक्शनल फिलोसफी एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. अब आपको वो इजम्स विजम्स देख के डर लग जाता है कि भाई ये कौन सा इज्म आ गया, दादा इज्म या स्टोइसिज्म, उसी से डर लग गया. अगर आपको उसका बेसिक नॉलेज होगा कि व्हाट इज इट, व्हाट इज स्टोइसिज्म, तो यू विल बी एबल टू अप्रोच इट मोर ब्यूटीफुली. तो जब भी मेरा ऑफिस टू कम्यूट टाइम्स होता था, या मैं भी कई बार बीमार पड़ा हूं अपनी जर्नी में, ऐसी बात नहीं है, बुखार हुए हैं, मतलब बेड रिडन, एकदम उठ ही नहीं पा रहे, डोलो चल रही हैं दबा के, तो उसमें भी ये होता था कि आई यूज्ड टू वॉच यूट्यूब वीडियोस रिलेटेड टू फिलोसफिकल टॉपिक्स, कि मुझे सारे इजम्स पता चल जाए, मुझे ये आपके जितने भी जॉन रॉल्स एंड ऑल इन सब का फिलोसफिकल या इकोनॉमिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू पता चल जाए. तो ये सब मेरी वीआरसी में हेल्प किया.
Editorials of any newspaper, Indian Express and all, these all have good editorials, and these days obviously ChatGPT can help you summarize these and then do your work a bit
And
more.
PYQs, most important, PYQs.
Can you emphasize more on how when you were telling ChatGPT can help a lot? Like how did I use ChatGPT for prep?
So what I was trying to say is that yeah, in the article reading process only, obviously you have an article, you read it, and you have a notion in mind that yes, this is what the article means, or this is what the main point that I can infer from this particular article. You can just paste it, and you can have a very good prompt. Actually, I have 2 to 3 prompts also shared across Telegram group.
See,
Can ask
I'll
ChatGPT.
elaborate on that point. See, when we read any article, na, there is always given in paragraph by paragraph format. We need to note down its main idea. I mean, what the first paragraph is saying, what the second paragraph is saying, and what the third paragraph is saying. what is the whole structure, what is the flow. So whenever I used to read, it's called active reading, where you write down your points, make scribbles, make doodles, and then you paste the whole article on chat gpt. You write a prompt like summarize this article for me and give me main idea of each paragraph, also tell me the structure and the final conclusion of the author. So these are the basic prompts that are required, and then you can actually compare what your thinking was and what the chat gpt is saying. Therein you can fill in your gap. Other than reading, there is nothing that you need to miss out, because reading is must. You need not to miss out on reading.
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
my
VRC,
take
I
on it.
believe, see, VRC, once a person is able to comprehend, so I don't think VRC is more nothing other than comprehension. So comprehension is the only thing that you need. If you're
There was this career launchers course you were mentioning. You were talking about VRC by
One,
VRC 1000, right?
yeah, Jejo
Oh,
Srinivasan, sir, yeah.
ये जो one of the best in the market, must take. I mean, if you are a, if you do not have anything to prepare for VRC and you are into that you want to score more than 40, 45, you want to get comfortable with the section, it's one of the best out there in the market. See, we have Karishma Vanvanani ma'am's channel, which is helpful for reading. There is the playlist called Eclectic Reading. And in that eclectic reading, she takes a very good article, not so easy one, but a very good learning one from a philosophical point of view or a science-based point of view. And she gives us time to read, and then she starts explaining it line by line in Hindi, in English, and it actually helps, create that thought process while doing a reading comprehension. And there is one RC PDF called Aristotle, RC Aristotle, and it has both easy, medium, and hard level RCs. It's good for preparation. The GMAT club books are very helpful.
Correct.
what was your sectional like section based strategy while you were giving the work section for both of you guys? Like, how did you
So
go about it?
for me, at least after a long time. So actually, as you can say, so Devansh was my VRC mentor. You can say that. So I actually had a word with him a lot of times that I'm struggling with solving this. I changed my VRC strategy a lot. So at the end, it was for me. I solved the VA questions for like around 8 to 10 minutes. I used to take more than 10 minutes sometimes, and in the rest 28 or 30 minutes, I used to try and solve as many RCs as I can. By the end, I tried doing 4 RCs, but I could not. So I ended up doing 3 RCs. But after a certain point, so I watched a video by Sayali ma'am, although it is very obvious also, I just focused more on my accuracy. I did not rush in through all the RCs that I have to solve it quickly in 6 7 minutes. I rather focused on having an 80% accuracy in those RCs. So I ended up also with an 80% accuracy. So that is what my strategy was: VA and then RCs.
So in VRC, obviously my strategy was also same. I used to write on my paper the 7 7 7 minutes slots, like 0 to 7, 8 to 14, 15 to 21, then 22 to 28. I used to write them because then I don't have to calculate how much time is left for me to solve that RC. My, I used to look at that and the timer. Yeah, I have 4 minutes. I have 3 minutes. I do not have to calculate. So that was my way. And I used to do VA first, 12 minutes, 10 minutes VA, then the remaining 28, 30 minutes in 4 RCs. My target when I sat down for solving a VRC was to go through all the 4 RCs and not actually select or leave any single one. I used to take a bet on the questions. If my question is taking me more than 40 seconds to solve, more than 45 seconds to solve, mark for review, move ahead. Do not waste your time in marking that question. 3 questions, अगर 3 हो रहे हैं, it's good. 2 हो रहे हैं, it's good. You have to actually be disciplined for that 7 7 minute time slot, because there will be some RC which will take for only 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Then you can always come back. What if your VA, you can solve VA early? I mean, जल्दी solve कर लिया तो you have time. Do not waste any time in any question. Just first intuition से read करने पे जो आ रहा है लग रहा है उसे लगाओ and move ahead. Because ये tried and tested है. Pranit will also agree कि जिस question पे we have taken more than 1 minute, 1.5 minutes ना, वो पक्का गलत हुआ है वो.
Correct, correct. True, true, true. VRC में तो सिंपल है यार, VRC में तो यू जस्ट हैव टू गो ऑन योर इंट्यूशन, आपको पैराग्राफ एक ही बार में पढ़ना है, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। एंड वन मोर थिंग दैट आई यूज्ड टू डू इज आई यूज्ड टू जस्ट नोट डाउन दी समरी पॉइंट्स इन 2 3 4 words of each paragraph of each.
Doodle.
Yeah, that
So
is
Pranit used to doodle while writing. I used
uh,
to doodle in mind while writing,
so that
while
is again up
solving.
to you.
Personal. That's completely personal.
Yeah, that is again up to you.
Okay, I think we have covered VRC pretty well. Let's move on to quants. I think it's one of the most dreaded section for people who are non-engineers. Not that you guys will get that. I think
Even for
Devansh will.
engineers, yeah. Even for engineers. Pranit
So,
was my mentor, and we had a trade. I'll help you in VRC. You help me in quants.
okay. How did your quant prep look like for both of you? For someone who loved it and for someone who was, of course, dreading it for at least some a point of a while.
I'll let Devansh start since he a lot of prep for quant. So Devansh can start. He'll give a basic
Uh,
idea as to how
uh,
someone can start with quant is what I first.
so yeah, I mean, I was the myth breaker कि engineers की quants अच्छी होती है. So I purchased Ravi sir's course. वो पूरा basics से पढ़ाते हैं. He used to have 40 lectures in arithmetic, 40 lectures in algebra. I mean, basics say I used to start, and I started my preparation quite early because I gave quite 23 and didn't went well. So I started in January itself. I gave 2 months to each topic. I completed my number system in January, February, then started with arithmetic. It took 3 months. My whole preparation cons was repetitive revision. I mean, it was a commutative study where when I go for a lecture two, I used to revise lecture one. For three, I used to revise one and two. For four, I used to revise all three. That was my journey because I mean, it always took a lot of efforts. I mean, it took a lot of efforts, but since I was lacking on basics, that's how I approached it. And after completing every topic, I used to solve more than 40, 50 questions of that topic from Ravi sir's portal only. He has a lot of ample of questions. Then after a certain point, when I thought that I have built a certain level, a base has been built, then I purchased Crackew's study room, and that gave me the confidence which I needed because the Crack study room do not teach you the basics. There are no lectures. It's a question bank. You have easy, intermediate, and difficult questions. You start with easy on your, not so good topic. For example, it was time, speed, distance for me in arithmetic. I fear that question. I mean, मेरे को पेपर में वो क्वेश्चन आता था तो एक तो 4 लाइन का क्वेश्चन. मेरे को लगता था कि यार इतना बड़ा क्वेश्चन पढ़ूंगा तो मैं 1.5 मिनट में कैसे कोई सवाल सॉल्व कर पाऊंगा. So Praneeth suggested that you gave a lot of time-based test for that particular topic. So I purchased Crack Study Room. मैंने उसके easy वाले 8-10 टेस्ट दे दिए. फिर वो एक कॉन्फिडेंस फेमिलियरिटी बढ़ गई. फिर मीडियम डिफिकल्ट सब किया. तो बहुत ही बेसिक प्रिपरेशन थी. आई मीन किसी भी एग्जाम की आप जो प्रिपरेशन करोगे बिल्कुल वही फॉलो किया मैंने. बेस यू लर्न द कंसेप्ट, यू रिवाइज द कंसेप्ट, यू प्रैक्टिस द कंसेप्ट, you solve sectional then mocks, and then you we have crack you full marathon classes, 8 hours algebra marathon, 8 hours number system marathon. These marathon classes of 2023 2024 all will help. uh, we have crack you full marathon classes, 8 hours algebra marathon, 8 hours weak areas.
Okay. Just one question, like how did you go about your revision? Because of course there's a lot of content available, and after a point of time, even if you're doing cumulative revision, एक महीने बाद तो like पूरा वापस kind of swipe हो ही जाता है. Like how did you go about, especially where
uh,
there's a lot of
uh,
theory involved?
there are two ways which I followed. The first was that I used to have that copy where I write down all the good questions which I come across. And there was another copy in which I wrote down all the good concepts that I come across. So I made two important copies apart from class notes. I also used to make postal notes. मेरी पूरी दीवार भरी हुई थी. There was one wall full algebra, one wall for arithmetic. Before giving any mock, मैं बस दीवारों को देखता था और I glanced through all the important concepts. तो रिवीजन का ये दैट दिन में कभी भी आपको 15 मिनट 30 मिनट निकल रहे हैं. I mean, you can just have that copy and रिवाइज इट। यू डोंट संडेज में बैठ के, ऑन वीकेंड में बैठ के मैं पूरे हफ्ते के जो मैंने पढ़े थे, आई यूज टू सॉल्व दोज क्वेश्चंस अगेन फॉर माई रिवीजन पार्ट, बट इन वीकडेज आई यूज टू ग्लैंस थ्रू इट। वो एक कंटिन्यूटी बनी रहती है दिमाग में, वो चीजें रहनी चाहिए, ग्लैंस होना चाहिए, निकलना चाहिए बार बार आंखों के सामने से। मतलब आपको
Nice.
एक डेडिकेटेड टाइम नहीं लगाना कि दिस इज माय रिवीजन टाइम। वो कोई रिवीजन टाइम नहीं होता, वो आपको 10-5 मिनट जब भी खाना खाने से पहले मिले, कॉपी उठाई, अच्छा ये कंसेप्ट कल पढ़ा था, ठीक है मुझे आ रहा है।
Okay. Pranit, you would like to add on something to that?
Yeah, so I have a lot of points to add, especially in quant. So, see, there's this simple thing that I want to say is that वो non-engineers वाली बात तो at least I don't consider true. ठीक है, मतलब ठीक है, नॉन इंजीनियर्स को डर लगता है, बट डर लगने वाला इतना सब्जेक्ट नहीं है. But again, okay, I'll just come to the part that you've asked. So, see, first of all, continuing on what Devan said. So, एक जो मेरी strategy थी, या I recommend this to a lot of people that whom I've talked to in the last few days. So, ऐसा है कि आपको एक कॉपी तो अपनी रखनी है. Let's suppose you solve a mock, you go through a good question which you weren't able to solve. Even after the mock, you believe that it is a good concept. So, you note down that question. Okay. So now the point is that there are 2 points. So first is that you don't have to note down all questions, obviously. So you have to be very selective. So that is where you start increasing your level. कि अच्छा ठीक है, मुझे अब ये क्वेश्चन, हर एक क्वेश्चन आप नोट नहीं कर सकते. आपसे अगर 12 सवाल हुए, so you cannot note down 10 questions, obviously. That is one thing. So you have to do a good what I would say, picking up of questions. And the second is every morning, the moment you get up and you're fresh, 15 minutes is the time that you give to that copy. I'm not talking about glancing through your whole copy every day. You just glance through the first 4 pages. And I can really bet on this. If you do this for 5 or 6 days straight, the first 4 pages आपको रट जाएंगे. तो सिंपली जैसे मैंने 23 में कॉपी बनाई थी, और मुझे वो आज भी आप सवाल अगर पूछोगे तो मुझे रटे हुए. सो यू माइट थिंक कि ठीक है मेरी क्वांट अच्छी है इसलिए आई एम एबल टू से दिस, बट दैट इज नॉट द पॉइंट. मुझे वो याद इसलिए बिकॉज आई वॉज एबल टू ग्रास्प दोज कंसेप्ट्स रेगुलरली फॉर 5-6 days. वो वाली बात है. एंड एडिंग वन मोर पॉइंट टू दिस, it is simple. Whenever you solve a question, you come through a doubt and you ask someone and he or she solves it for you. You assume कि मुझे वो समझ आ गया है. That is the point where you ask yourself whether वो मुझे actually समझ आया कि नहीं. How do you gauge this? Let's suppose you are a teacher and someone asks you that particular question as a doubt. अगर आप उसे अपनी, this is particularly my observation, अगर आप उसे अपनी नेटिव लैंग्वेज, हिंदी, इंग्लिश, एनीथिंग, अगर आप उस क्वेश्चन को समझा सकते हो एक बहुत बेसिक कंसेप्ट से, बहुत बेसिक लैंग्वेज में, कि अच्छा ये हो रहा था, सो दैट इज वेयर वो कंसेप्ट फिर आपको कभी भूलने नहीं वाला है, राइट? See, quants is a subject where I wanted to add this in the starting of my conversation, but quants is a subject where scoring a 99 is much easier than VRC.
Yeah, see,
This is not
agreed,
only
agreed.
what I say, this is the data that shows. So last year, taking last year as an example, 40 plus was the 99 percentile for VRC, and for quants it was only 32 or 33, which is half of the marks that you require in the quant paper, right? So दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से. एंड quants इज सेक्शन जिसमें आप बहुत ज्यादा जंप मार सकते हो. मतलब यू कैन इजीली गो फ्रॉम 21 टू स्कोरिंग 36. तो दैट इज वेयर एक्चुअली आपको देखना है. सो हर बार आई जस्ट गो थ्रू वन मोर स्ट्रेटेजी दैट आई फॉलोड. स्किपिंग इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ क्वांट. सो स्किपिंग का मतलब ये है कि यू कम अक्रॉस अ क्वेश्चन, आपको फर्स्ट 10-15 सेकंड्स में, ऑब्वियसली यू हैव टू ट्रेन योरसेल्फ फॉर दैट, फर्स्ट 10-15 सेकंड में यू हैव टू हैव अ बेसिक इंट्यूशन कि अच्छा ये क्वेश्चन में ये होने वाला है. Do I know this or am I going to get stuck in this question? And then I either choose to skip it or I choose to solve it. And you cannot give more than 2 minutes to each question. आपकी क्वांट का कैसा भी लेवल हो is what I'm trying to say. This is true for everyone, not for me, not for you, not for Devansh, but for everyone. You cannot be stuck to a question for more than 2 minutes, and you have to keep skipping. So ऐसा मान लो आप, there are 10 small low hanging fruits. So आपको वो low hanging fruits उन 22 में से ढूंढने हैं. बस दैट इज व्हाट अ क्वांट पेपर इज फॉर अ 99 परसेंटाइल. मतलब आप इसको समझो, इट साउंड्स वेरी इजी, बट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर एक्चुअली नॉट बीइंग एबल टू डू सो.
होता नहीं है, आई ऑल्सो रिमेम्बर ना, वो एक क्वेश्चन पे आप स्टक हो जाते हो ना, यू यू टेंड टू हैव दैट माइंडसेट कि यार थोड़ा और हो जाए, होने वाला है, होने
थोड़ा
वाला है।
और इसलिए, हाँ, दैट इज
हाँ,
दैट इज एग्जैक्टली बिकॉज यू थिंक दैट यस आई हैव डन दिस अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स, Why am I not being able to do so? That is where you keep your ego aside and you just focus on those remaining 21 questions. Ki, theek hai, I have to solve those 21 questions. So the quant paper is of 66 marks. Leaving 3 marks will not do a big deal to you. If you can score 63 out of those 63 marks that are left, then you are okay. Then you're okay with it. So leaving one question is not a problem. But you have to learn to leave a question. You have to learn to skip.
मतलब क्वांट्स में वो पूरे जो 22 सवाल हैं वो यू हैव टू गो थ्रू ऑल।
हाँ,
ऐसा ना हो
correct,
कि आप 10वें पे स्टक हो गए तो आपने लास्ट के 2-3 देखे ही नहीं। दैट्स अ
correct,
बिग,
correct.
मतलब वो एक गुनाह है, गुनाह।
Quant में there is one thing that this CrackU has a very good concept of CAT daily targets. So they're free for everyone, as in the sense that if the daily target belongs to Monday, then you can attempt it on Monday for free every day. So that is only 5 questions, but that obviously makes a big change. And Baki to if anyone is doing self prep, I believe any one of the question banks of any of the tests of any of the coaching classes also does good. And Rodha pe there are again a lot of conceptual videos. I'm particularly talking about quant only. Baki, I believe that obviously if someone does not have enough, maybe somewhat monetary issues or anything else, and he's not able to buy a complete coaching, solving sectionals, iteratively working on improving yourself through every sectional is also something that can help you a lot. And again, those marathon classes are a very good source. So there are around 50, 60 questions being solved by sirs. Obviously, you can solve them regularly.
ऑलमोस्ट एवरी पॉइंट कवर्ड।
Okay, so let's start with LRDI. What is your approach? How people should go about it? Especially LRDI is a lot about set selection also, then again timed practice also. So yeah, how we can just genuinely start with it
LRDI,
and ups. Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, sorry. LRDI to see yaar, आप अगर last you'll see the last 3 years paper. I believe 80% of the sets require you to draw a table, right? So the only skill that you require is drawing a table and filling the table up, right? So the
गुड हैंड
complexity
राइटिंग।
is that, yeah, good handwriting is the first thing. So that actually helps a lot. It might sound lame, but that actually helps a lot because if you want to come back to a question also, you need good handwriting so that you can actually comprehend of what you have written.
There are so many marks which I lost because of bad handwriting, and then Pranit used to scold me कि ये अच्छे से लिखते तो पक्का सही हो जाता।
Correct. So it is actually about time only. Since you have only 40 minutes, you tend to panic. You write it in small spaces. I've seen people leaving the 80% of the paper blank and solving in the 20% part of the paper. That does not make any sense. So for LRDI, it is very simple. See, LRDI is more or less aptitude ka khel hai sara kuch. As I've mentioned, if you solve around, I do not know the exact number, but let's suppose you go through the aptitude JAP playlist. It has approximately 400, 500 sets. You will be able to get an idea as to किस direction में आपका set जा सकता है. It can go into this direction, this direction, this direction. After that, because you have practiced that nicely, I believe you will be able to navigate through that question well. Okay? And again, I'll stick to the strategy that I used in quant only. After, let's suppose there is a dead time that I call for myself. So let's suppose I am idle for 2 to 3 minutes. I'm not thinking. A lot of times, many aspirants would have experienced this. They've just kept the pen down and they're just staring at the screen as to what can I do now to fill this table up. That is the time when you leave that set and you move on to the next set. Because उस time को आप सिर्फ waste कर रहे हो. You're actually not thinking. So आप अगर you analyze well, from the 12 minutes that you use to solve a set, you are actually solving it only for 7-8 minutes. 3 to 4 minutes आप जनरल वेस्ट कर रहे हो ये सोचने में कि मुझे आगे क्या करना है. सो अगर वो लगातार आ रहे हैं 3-4 minutes, I would recommend कि आप वो set then skip करके you should go on to the next set. I would say gauge a set on the topic that it is presented on.
फेस वैल्यू पे नहीं जज करना है।
Exactly. Let's suppose you are a non-engineer. I'll come to that. Okay. And you are afraid of quants, you're afraid of numbers. You see a chart and you say, यार मेरे को तो addition नहीं आती. ठीक है और मैं ही छोड़ देता हूँ. And let's suppose just by chance, CAT has only asked the graph values in those 4 questions. You're losing out 12 marks. So you don't leave a question on its face value. You read the question and then you gauge as to whether I want to solve it or not.
I mean, you do not have to waste your time in a set which is very unsolvable, because there will be troublesome speed breaker set, which if you pick as your first two sets, you'll lose on a lot of time. True. I mean, every point Pranit mentioned is what we all followed. And coming to the basic version, so LRDI requires you to have that basic knowledge of every topic. I mean, if you solve at least around 8 to 10 sets, for example, of Venn diagram, games and tournaments, roots and networks, and matrices, tables, whatever the topics are, you'll get a rough idea that what is the thinking direction, how the thought process goes. There are quant-based puzzles. Those quant-based puzzles are just number crunching, analyzing the whole, given puzzle. So LRDI does not have any required syllabus. It's basically a aptitude that you need to develop. And what I did during my preparation was started with all the topic wise first. I solved around 10 to 15 sets or probably 20 sets of each topic. And then I went in for full miscellaneous preparation. For LRDI, we have many YouTube channels, Anesthesia Shankar and Aptitude Jap, IMS Prayagraj, Rodha. For LRDI, we have many YouTube channels, Anesthesia Shankar and Aptitude Jap, IMS Prayagraj, Rodha. For LRDI, we have many YouTube channels, Anesthesia Shankar and Aptitude Jap, IMS Prayagraj, like solving daily 4 sets miscellaneously. So my whole resource for solving was Rodha only, and I used to solve Rodha's test, time-based test, lectures, practice sessions, etc., sectionals, mock. LRDI is a experiential process. You see a set, you solve it, you do not solve it. You have your experiences with you. कि ये मुझसे हो गया था, ये नहीं हुआ था, मैं यहाँ गलत था, यहाँ गलत नहीं था. Plus, वो proper noting down, jotting down all the points is very important. Cross-ticking. I mean, whatever point you have noted down, you have to cross it, tick it, मतलब take your own ways out. And another thing which helps in RDI is watching other mentors solve or any other tutor solve. कि how did they approach it? I mean, आपको खुद से कुछ नहीं समझ आएगा उसमें. अगर आप पहली बार प्रिपरेशन में जाओगे, you will not have a single idea कि मैं इसमें क्या करूं. You'll be just hanging around the bush. But लोग कहते हैं कि भाई खाली देख देख के सीख सीख के तो यू विल नॉट लर्न, आपको खुद से प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ेगा. दैट इज ट्रू. बट टू मेक दैट बेस, टू मेक दैट थॉट प्रोसेस, यू ऑलवेज हैव टू लुक कि वो लोग जो टीचर्स हैं, जो एजुकेटर्स हैं, वो कैसे उसको अप्रोच कर रहे हैं. व्हाट इज देयर फर्स्ट स्टेप, उसके बाद क्या किया है, फिर क्या किया है. दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. So a lot of practice. Solve daily 4 sets. I solved around 550 sets during my whole preparation. As I said, मैं मेरे पे पूरा डाटा रहता है. I used to note down every day कि मैंने कितने सेट्स किए, कितने नहीं किए. It helps me maintain that level of motivation कि आज नहीं किया तो कल करेंगे. So yeah.
Okay. Pranit, you want to add on something to that? Otherwise, we can move ahead.
नहीं, Devansh has covered a lot of things. बाकी तो हाँ मतलब डेटा वाली बात में I'll not be able to help. I don't keep track of my data. Devansh has a
दूसरा
lot
पता.
of his data posted on LinkedIn also. So वहाँ से भी
हाँ.
obviously that will be really helpful. So
हाँ.
but yes हाँ मतलब keeping a
One
track.
more thing. हाँ. One more thing that LRDI, मतलब after a certain point you enjoy solving LRDI. मतलब कभी आपका मूड डाउन है, मतलब आपको लग रहा है ना आज दिन बहुत बोरिंग है, यू पिक अप 4 sets ऑफ LRDI एंड वो आपको सडनली आपको अच्छा लगेगा.
So, just a bunch of questions from what you already mentioned. I have heard a lot of stories about Devansh giving around 60 plus mocks and in different environments where he was turning off the fan and a lot of things. He was experimenting a lot. So, I would love to know more about that. Like, what your mock journey was. Of course, you tried and experimented a lot, but I'm sure there would have been times where your scores were plateaued and you tried everything, but nothing worked around. I mean, for Pranit, it could have been VARC, and for you it could have been quants. I mean, that is one of the biggest challenges most of the people face. So I would love to know more about your mock journey.
Yeah, sure. So I used to have that mock fear that that whole day starts with a nervousness, butterflies in the stomach. It all goes ahead like I have a mock scheduled from 11 to 1 p.m. I'm already nervous waking up, and I know that I have completed my syllabus. I am not confident in solving those questions and sitting in timer. So during that time, I mean in June 2024, I made a decision that I want to go all in with the mocks. Probably gave 2 mocks after every alternate day, so that I want to make it a habit of my life, my living, that when you brush every day, you give mock every day. It has to become a part of your routine, so that the same day on the cat, the same timing, you'll feel very chill. I gave 76 mocks, and in those 76 mocks, first 2025, it took me 15 mocks at least to get accustomed with that timing issues, the nervousness issues. Then after the another 15 would be like I was confident when I was scoring, pinpointing my silly mistakes, pinpointing my weak areas, and relearning them, revising them time to time. Then when I saw improvement in my score, then a stagnation point reached where I was, scoring around 80, 85 in mocks. But then I, started experimenting with a lot of surrounding issues, with a lot of psychological issues. That why not give a mock in lot of background noise, and to get accustomed of the factors which we do not account when we prepare. In CAT, there was a very practical experience that in the first 5 to 6 minutes, there is a lot of hassle in the, your room, your examination room, because the announcements are happening that please so and so roll number, please start your paper, and pe students are coming late. The security check-ins are getting delayed. So, and the first section is VRC. You have to focus, and that's when I decided that I'll go with VA first, so that I can focus while doing VA but not reading RCs. So this kind of scenarios, I actually prepared a lot. And in CAT, it was all like a cakewalk for me. The 2 hours flew. It was a proper game of intuition and speed run. It was a speed run, and I was confident. CAT se bahar aake, I called Praneet, and I was like, "Badhiya hua, it was good." We still remember those moments.
Okay, what about Pranit? How was your, I mean, mocks journey?
Yeah, so I just now went back and saw I also attempted around 60 mocks. I was not aware of this, but okay. So yeah, my mock strategy was, see, I am that kind of a person. I don't believe in giving mocks regularly. Regularly, I mean there are a lot of people I know who have given 100 plus mocks. So there are people who attend mocks daily. They have a kind of an adrenaline rush. I don't have that, and I consider myself very lucky to not have that. But anyways, so I was more or less focused on giving 2 to 3 mocks per week. And again, as Devansh mentioned, more or less for every cat aspirant, the journey is the same. So yes, there is a lot of things. So one time I remember. So this was the last year, right? Not in 24. There was this final match between India and Australia, the World Cup match, and it was going on. The screening was going on just below my so मतलब मेरे घर के नीचे एकदम चल रही थी स्क्रीनिंग एंड एकदम से देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ नॉइज एंड मेरा वीआरसी सेक्शन चल रहा है तो आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ एंजाइटी कि एज टू स्कोर क्या हो रहा है एंड यहाँ पे आई एम सॉल्विंग वीआरसी एंड आई एंडेड अप स्कोरिंग वेरी बैड इन वीआरसी सो दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट दैट यू ऑब्वियसली कैन गेट ऑन द एग्जाम डे एज वेल बिकॉज किसी के मॉक सेंटर के साइड में शादी हो रही होती है कुछ फंक्शन हो रहा होता है क्रिकेट ग्राउंड होता है सो and coming back to what I experienced on 60 mocks mein, so there is a lot of fluctuation. See, you score very well, you score very low. So at least for me, a very fun fact is that I ended up scoring my highest in the last mock season in CAT. So I did not score that much in any of the mocks. So what I'm trying to say is that anything can happen. So just believe in your prep strategy because any of the test series is actually not making the CAT paper. So the CAT paper is purely based on what you have learned through the 6, 7, 8, 9 months, whatever amount of time you've given for your prep. Rest, baki our mocks is very fun. Mocks is a lot of fun because you obviously have to discuss it with a lot of friends. You have to have a good learning after every mock. And after every mock, you must know कि अच्छा हाँ ठीक है ये मैंने गलती करी थी so now I do not have to do that in the next mock. कई लोग ऐसे भी होते हैं who just compensate the bad marks for a mock. They just give the mock in the
Hmm.
next 2 hours, but don't do that. At least this is my suggestion. That is not helpful because CAT only gives you a single chance in a single year. So उससे कुछ फायदा नहीं होने वाला.
Okay. Now that we're talking about mocks, like which mock series worked the best for you guys? I'm sure you must have tried a lot of it. So, like, what worked out the best?
So for I'll go first. Yeah. So for me it was see CrackU is a very good mock test series. So CrackU has been doing very good in the past years. At least is this is what I believe. Then Career Launcher is also standard test series that most of the people buy. These two are the main, and apart from these, in the second year, as to they're slowly and slowly gaining traction. So Rodha is a very good test series again. Rodha, I would also say that Mockcat. Mockcat is a test series which has recently been launched. I have also been in touch with the owner of Mockcat a lot of times, and he's a very good guy. So his vision also for making those test series is also what I've gone through. So Mockcat is also one good test series which gives you a lot of mocks and sectionals spanned across all difficulty levels at a very low price. And apart from this, if someone wants to buy, I'm just missing out on one name. I believe it's
Yeah, SimCats.
SimCats, yeah, IMS. It's on the higher side. It's the price is a bit high, but I usually did not prefer giving SimCats. But yes, SimCats is also very famous. So for me, the top three would be Career Launcher, CrackU, and Rodha, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also of the same line of thought. For me, Career Launcher's VRC is astonishing. I mean, Gejo sir and his analysis, you know, the so much thoughts he put in making the paper, and then you know, I mean, it's a proper learning experience when you give a Career Launcher's VRC section. And same for LRDI. They are known for making absurd LRDI at times, but we have to be prepared for it. And quants is nice of CL. So I'll put carry launcher my top priority. Post that I was very much into Roda because I wanted to level up, and that level up, taking a level 3 question, solving absurd abstract RCs, abstract philosophical RCs, and proper brain drain work. I mean, after giving a 2 hour Roda mock, you'll never feel fresh. So that was my take because I wanted to also, improve my stamina of giving mock sitting 2 hours and be accustomed with the uh, timings. Then I'll go with Mockcat. Mockcat is very good for your conceptual knowledge. I mean, it's not difficult, it's not easy, it's super balanced, and their sectionals are very nice. Even if you don't attempt mocks, please give sectionals. That is my recommendation because LRDI sectionals and quant sectionals, it helps you improve your timing, your thought process. They put in so much thought in making LRDI sets. I mean, it's not like you crack only one single nick and you solve the whole set. It's like you have to break it layer by layer, which is the case with CAT as well. And you, my LRDI was weak. I was only able to solve one set, probably 1.5 sets, uh, after a long time of preparation in mocks. But after giving regular mockcat sectionals, it improved to 2 sets, 2.5 sets. I mean, it would be a personal thing for everyone, but it worked for me. So these are my top three. And Baki to crack you is difficult if you want to have that taste of brutality. You can go with crack you.